The Rock reportedly conceded on his WrestleMania match. A scary and serious injury took place at last night's NXT tapings. How it will affect Elimination Chamber, which apparently is already going through changes. Listen up, Slapnuts. This is the WrestleTalk news.
Support WrestleTalk!
After a tense week of speculation and reports, WWE officially confirmed that the main event of WrestleMania 40 will be Cody Rhodes looking to finish the story and face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And along the way, The Rock, who less than a week earlier looked like he was going to face Roman, turned heel and aligned himself with Roman. The story has been a huge success for WWE, with the ratings for this past SmackDown, which did not feature Roman, Rock, or Cody, did a monster number of 2.5 million viewers, the highest in 6 months. While Raw was down this week compared to the previous two, it was still a big number for the show, pulling in 1.75 million viewers. What's interesting about that number, if you're someone like me who finds this interesting, sound off in the comments if you're like me and find this interesting, we should form a club. The viewership for the show rose once Cody Rhodes came out. The first hour drew 1.79 million viewers, then rose to 1.85 million for its second hour. Once Cody left, it dropped off to 1.6 million, which is also why the online chatter about what was the plan, what wasn't the plan, what was a work, what wasn't a work has been so fascinating for people who like their inside baseball. People like me, are you like me? Sound off in the comments, I want to form a club. There have been conflicting reports on whether this has been a work from the start, with Fightful Select even reporting that if this was a work from the start, then top talent like Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk were not clued in. And now we have a new bit of reporting to put into this speculation stew to add a little bit more spice to the proceedings, and perhaps a pinch of salt. Aaron Varbil of SC Scoops reported on the 7th of February, the day before the press conference in Las Vegas, that someone from WWE Creative had told him that the plan was still to do Rock versus Roman despite the crowd reactions towards The Rock on that previous Raw. He has since followed up on that report to say, I was able to confirm that Rock's original plan was to have a match with Roman. It wasn't the situation we have now. After all the negative reaction, Rock conceded it should be Roman versus Cody. This ties into that Fightful Select report that came out following that SmackDown episode where Cody sidestepped for The Rock, that Rocky was not only pushing for the Roman match to save WrestleMania, but that he should also win that match and win the title. Dave Meltzer had reported leading up to that SmackDown episode that Rock really wanted to do that Roman match at Mania, but had people trying to convince him to do it on a different date, possibly in Saudi Arabia. He's also reported that The Rock joining the TKO board of directors came with the understanding that he would main event this year's WrestleMania. With all of the back and forth, toing and froing, what do you make of all of this? Do you think that it was a work from the start, or do you think that plans just changed following the fan backlash? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're making that comment, why not check out this clip from the most recent episode of Survival Series where we tried to name every TNA World Champion. And yes, I had a lot of fun with this one.
Name me a TNA Heavyweight Champion.
I've got a tactic here. You might recognize or figure out what it is early on. Abyss.
Abyss.
AJ Styles.
Ding.
Oh yeah, he's going alphabetical.
Sesame Street style.
Yeah.
AJ Styles. Why don't we do an AJ Styles? Oh, what am I doing? AJ Styles.
AJ Styles.
Immediately encountering issues. Are there any more A's? A's. Where my A's at? Christian.
Part of the reason that WrestleMania plans have been so up in the air as of late is because of a couple of injuries within WWE. Firstly, Seth Rollins got injured during his World Heavyweight Championship match against Jinder Mahal, and then CM Punk, who was originally scheduled to face Rollins at WrestleMania, got injured during the Royal Rumble. And now, we sadly have to add Shotzi to that injured list. Last night, NXT also taped next week's episode of the show to be aired on the 20th of February. The episode that aired last night revealed that one of the matches taking place next week would be SmackDown Shotzi challenging Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's Championship. However, during that match, Shotzi hurt her knee taking a fall to the outside when doing a spot to send the show to a commercial break, an injury so bad that the match had to be stopped and Shotzi was helped to the back. Corey Corey Brennan of Fightful Select reports Shotzi was not able to place weight on her injured knee and was forced to hop to the back with assistance from WWE's medical team. He adds that Shotzi was in a large amount of pain and backstage staff were very concerned. He also adds that while NXT has had a track record of doing worked injuries in the past, this is not one of them. One source told Corey Brennan the injury was serious. There is reportedly no heat on Valkyria for the injury, which has been described as a freak accident. Instead, General Manager Ava announced there would be an open challenge for the title, which was answered by Lash Legend. Fightful Select writes, several sources in NXT commended Lyra, Legend, and Ava's ability to adapt to what was a difficult situation for all involved. Our best goes out to Shotzi, and we here at WrestleTalk wish her a speedy recovery. It will mean that this SmackDown will need to change, as Shotzi was advertised to be facing Tiffany Stratton for a spot in the Elimination Chamber in Perth. While it was reported and expected that Stratton was set to win that spot, she will need a new opponent for the show. And that's not the only plan that is changing for Elimination Chamber. On this past Monday's Raw, it was announced that there would be a last chance battle royal featuring the losers of previous qualifying matches, along with the likes of Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, and Chelsea Green. As we discussed on yesterday's WrestleTalk news, PW Insider had reported that the winner of the battle royal would be Jade Cargill, who made her impressive WWE debut in this year's Royal Rumble. However, PW Insider are now reporting that those plans have since changed, and Cargill might not be in the Battle Royal and no longer in the Elimination Chamber. They add, however, that those plans could change. So just so we're all clear, PW Insider are reporting that Jade Cargill was going to be in the Battle Royal and win it to be in the Elimination Chamber, but those plans have changed and she's now not going to be in the Battle Royal or the Elimination Chamber. However, those plans could change and she could be in the Battle Royal and in the Elimination Chamber. It's really quite simple. The episode of NXT that did air last night, though, did see the tag titles change hands as the Wolf Dogs of Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker beat the Family to win the belts. Breakker pinned Stacks for the finish, following the pair winning the Dusty Classic to get a shot at the titles. Breakker has also been teased for a main roster call-up, having appeared on both Raw and SmackDown since his Royal Rumble appearance. Over to the drama in TNA now, and let's bring everyone up to speed in case you missed all of this. Scott D'Amore has been credited as the man who saved TNA Wrestling, not only pushing the company through the pandemic and turbulent years of uncertainty, but also spearheading the rebranding of Impact Wrestling back to the TNA name. Their first pay-per-view of the year, Hard to Kill, was a great success for TNA, with Dave Meltzer reporting that it had a lot more new eyes on it when comparing those who bought Hard to Kill to those who bought the previous pay-per-view Bound for Glory, which is why it was such a huge surprise that Anthem, the company that owns TNA, fired Scott D'Amore last week. Reportedly, TNA talents were caught off guard by this news when it was told to them on a Zoom call and voiced their displeasure as D'Amore was very well liked. House of Wrestling reported that there was a second call headed up by Tommy Dreamer and Gail Kim to address any concerns that talent had. But while they were surprised, Fightful Select are now reporting that D'Amore's firing has been in the works for the last month. They report that Anthem wanted to present this as a mutual parting of ways, but D'Amore did not want to leave TNA. Once it became clear that he was going to be removed as the president of TNA, Fightful Select report D'Amore attempted to buy TNA from Anthem, but his offer was rejected. A previous report said that D'Amore wanted Anthem to put more money into TNA to up its production values. However, Fightful Select are reporting that they've been told by those within Anthem that was only actually related to software upgrades and nothing else. They add that the schedule for TNA remains the same and confirm that Anthem are keen on cutting the costs of the show when compared to the previous year. Fightful Select add talents we've heard from have been overwhelmed and unhappy about the move away from D'Amore, as many were loyal to him. And while things aren't so rosy for TNA, everything is coming up Millhouse for AEW. Last week, the rating for AEW Dynamite was considered a disappointment. While it was only down a couple of % from the previous week, it was a stacked show, with Hangman vs. Swerve 3, Tony Khan's big announcement, and Sting challenging for the Tag Team Championships. But while that number was a disappointment, Rampage and Collision did great numbers with very little buzz or promotion. Firstly, Rampage's number from this past Friday was 456,000 viewers, up nearly 50% from the previous week, and the highest the show has had since April of last year. The show peaked in the opening quarter, which drew nearly 500,000 viewers for the trios match of Orange Cassidy, Trent, and Rocky Romero taking on the Undisputed Kingdom. Not only was that a great number for Rampage, it was almost the same number as Collision, which drew 491,000 viewers from this past weekend, peaking at 538,000 viewers for its second hour, which saw Adam Copeland have an in-ring promo with Daniel Garcia, as well as the start of Mark Briscoe versus Brody King. That overall viewership is not just up 22% from the previous week, it's the highest number for the show since October 2023. But that's enough from me, or is it? Because you can go and watch me name loads of TNA World Champions in the latest Survival Series.